Hello, everyone, and welcome to HBCU Highlights. My name is Ashley Deadwyler-Jones, and I'm here with my amazing co-host, Miss Andrea Evans. And today we have the opportunity of interviewing one of Spelman's brightest shining stars, Miss LaShonda Oglesbee. Hi, LaShonda.
Hello, Ashley. How are you?
I am great. I'm great. We're here today, and we want to learn about you and what really led your steps towards Spelman College. We also want to talk a lot about your fascinating career. But first, let's talk about what led you to Spelman.
Sure. So when I was in the ninth grade, I went on a college tour with my church. And at that time, I did not know anything about HBCUs. And we went to all historically Black colleges along the East Coast. And because I was in the ninth grade, I said, okay, well, I'll just learn a little bit, but I'm just getting into high school. So I'm not really sure that I want to go on the tour, but everyone in my church said, no, you need to go. There's no time like the present. Let's just get started. So we went on some tours along the East Coast and we came across Spelman. And I was in awe at the women on Spelman's campus. They were so poised and confident. And I was like, whatever they're doing here, this is where I need to be. But I said, it's still ninth grade. I'll just put it down on my list and then I'll continue to matriculate through high school. So then in my sophomore year, the same college tour came up. I went back to Spelman and I fell in love with the campus. This time I did my research. And at Spelman, what really attracted me was the sense of sisterhood. The more students that I talked to, they all talked about a sense of sisterhood and culture. And for me, because I was an only child, that actually appealed a lot to me. And so I went back home and I said, I'm going to Spelman. I had all the Spelman paraphernalia. Every day in high school, I had something with Spelman on and everyone would laugh at me. They're like, did you get in? Did you apply? I'm like, no, but this is where I am meant to be. I am meant to be a Spelman woman. And I set my eyes on that. And when the acceptance letter came in, that was the only school that I wanted to go to.
Wow, well, you just set your sights on Spelman and Spelman chose you. And I'm so glad that you accepted, and I'm so glad that Spelman accepted you because you are our Spelman sister. So thank you for telling that story, because so many people are watching this today and they want to go on college tours and they may not want to pursue an HBCU. So the way you light up when you talk about Spelman, and to be an only child and walk through the gates and leave Spelman with thousands of sisters is inspiring in itself. So let's talk about Spelman. So what did you major in while you were at Spelman, and how are you using that degree today?
Sure. Well, first I will tell you that when I started Spelman, I actually majored in English and I minored in political science. So I was on the path of going to law school. When I went to Spelman, though, I was exposed to so many different careers. And during an internship, I decided that I really wanted to go into business. But by that time, I had already had political science was my major, English was my minor. So what I did was I switched it in my sophomore year and said, I'll focus on English. And I added another minor, which was management and organization. So that gave me an opportunity to take business classes at Morehouse, but still allow me to progress if I decided to change my mind and go back to law school. So by the time I graduated from Spelman, I actually ended up with a degree with a major in English and double minors in political science and business management and organization. So straight from Spelman, I went into the workforce and I went into consulting. I went there because I felt like I could get a lot of exposure to different things. And the degree in English helped me tremendously, because when I first started as an analyst at a consulting company, I was doing a lot of pitch books. I had to make presentations and just really focus on presenting myself very well in front of clients. So Spelman really helped me to be successful in the consulting industry.
Wow. So you started off in consulting, and you're still in consulting, but you're at a very much higher level. Can you talk to us about you know, that progress from where you started to where you are now and really what it took to get there.
Sure. So again, starting as an analyst directly out of Spelman, I actually was an analyst for about 2 years and then began to progress in my career. During that progression, I wanted to also get my MBA. So I went to Emory. At that time, Emory had an amazing relationship with Spelman. And I decided that I wanted to learn more about Emory. So I reached out to, even though I had graduated from Spelman, I reached out to some of my Spelman professors and said, hey, I'm looking at business school. I know we have a relationship with Emory. Can you tell me a little bit about it? Do you know who I should reach out to? And my Spelman professors, even though I was not there, they took me by the hand. They helped navigate me towards the business school process, and they put me in contact with people who I could learn more about Emory University. So after being at a consulting company for about 5 years and then going into business school, I went back into consulting, and I actually was in consulting for about 20 years. I continued to progress and move up in that career. And when I decided to have a family, I didn't want to travel anymore. So I began to look at companies where I could still do consulting and what I love doing, but not live out of my suitcase. It's glamorous when you first start, but to do that for so many years, it was times where I couldn't even remember what state I was in. And so I decided to still practice consulting, but do it at a consulting company where I didn't have to travel. So I did that for a while, and then an amazing opportunity came up, which led me to where I am today at a company called Assurant, which is a risk management company. And so I started there actually as a director, still doing change management, but this time I was doing consultant focused primarily in our company, which was great because I didn't have to continue to leave different companies. I had an opportunity to build greater relationships and to get a deeper understanding of the business and how to execute change within that organization. After being there for about 2 years, I was promoted to assistant vice president. And then after a year of that was promoted probably about 2 years ago to my current position, which is Global Vice President of Change Management and Organization Development.
Well, congratulations to you on such a successful career, and wow, to just start almost as the traveling consultant to now director, and to have that prestigious position says a lot about your work ethic. So congratulations. And what really stood out to me in what you said the most is that even after you graduated from Spelman, that your professors were still invested in you. And that says so much about the college and your relationship with your professors. And so I want to take you back to Spelman in the 90s when you were there on the yard, having a good time at the AUC. What's one of your favorite memories at Spelman?
I would say my most favorite memory at Spelman was my freshman year. And it was late at night, and we all got together, my entire freshman class. We got together in Sisters Chapel. At that time, Dr. Cole was the president of Spelman College, and we came as raw as we possibly could be. So no makeup, we didn't have our hair done. Some of us were still in our pajamas, and we all got together. And I will never forget when Dr. Cole said, look to your left and look to your right. And then I was expecting something totally different from what she said. I was expecting, okay, when you graduate, the people sitting next to you wouldn't be there. But what she said to us was, if you look to your left and you look to your right, and 4 years from now, if your Spelman sister is not sitting here with you, then you have not done your job, that you have failed. And to me, that was so profound, especially as I mentioned early, being an only child and really just trying to learn about this concept of sisterhood. I was like, okay, is this really about sisterhood or is it a myth? And for her to say that in the first week of school, it resonated so well with me. And I began to see my Spelman sisters in a whole different light. And Spelman is competitive, but it was about how can we help each other compete and how can we all be successful. And to me, until this day, that's one of my most fondest memories, was us all getting together as a class and hearing Dr. Cole say that.
And you really took it to heart, because you were my student orientation leader. I hope you don't think I was going to leave that out. But you took it to heart because you weren't just like, oh, I'm here for her, I'm going to show her around campus today, but I'm going to make sure that I help her until she finishes and gets across that finish line. So I do appreciate for that. And I mean, and beyond, right? So you really, really took that to heart. And I thank you for that. But, you know, that giving back piece, it seems like it's a part of you. It's a part of who you always were growing up and, you know, at Spelman. Talk to us about what you're doing outside of the corporate world to give back to the community.
Sure. And Ashley, I think you mentioned it so well in terms of it was a passion that I had, but I think it really manifested itself more at Spelman and it came out more. And my desire to help the community, I think it was a seed planted that Spelman helped to grow and help me blossom in my passion to help others. But in terms of what I do outside of the community, I am on the board of directors of a nonprofit organization called the Nicholas House. The Nicholas House is a homeless shelter here in Atlanta, and the intent of the Nicholas House is not only to provide people with temporary housing, but it's to help them understand how to prevent themselves from going back into poverty. And to me, that resonated because it wasn't about, I'm going to provide you with a place to stay for 30, 60, or 90 days. It was, I'm going to provide you and your family with a place to stay. And now I'm going to equip you with the skills that you need in order to get you back on your feet, whether that's helping you find a job, if it's trying to figure out how to make a budget, or if it's learning more about nutrition and your family. So that really resonated with me. The other thing about the Nicholas House that I love so much is that the organization is focused on keeping the family together. Family is very important to me. And you have a lot of homeless shelters here in Atlanta where if they have a teenager or, and it's a whole family, but if someone is over 16 years old, they break the family up. Whereas the Nicholas House, they want the entire family unit together, whether it's the mother, the father, older siblings, and older, even grandparents. It's about keeping that family unit together because that's one of the ways in which they can try to break the cycle of poverty, is about learning those skills. So I love the Nicholas House. I do a lot of support, and like I mentioned, I'm on the board. My family, we actually go there and provide meals at least once a month, where we serve, we go all out for dinner. We will order whatever we eat, that's what we bring into the shelter. If it's a catered Maggiano's or whatever the restaurant is, we bring our favorite restaurants in and we actually serve the homeless. The other thing that I do in the community is actually with my son, and it's through an organization called Young Men's Service League. So I want him to develop the same passion that I have about helping others. And not only do I want him to develop that same passion about helping others, I also want him to realize how blessed and fortunate he is. And so through Young Men's Service League, it's actually mother and sons. We do community service together. We do about 20 hours every year, and the intent is to work on different community service organizations to expose the young men to various types of nonprofit organizations out there so they can find out which one is their passion and which one they want to get back into.
Well, kudos to you for paying it forward, and for not only paying it forward for yourself, but for instilling that in your son, the importance of giving back and letting him know, like you said, how blessed he is to have a mom like you, first of all. So kudos to you for that. So how old is your son, and is he a future Morehouse man?
My son is 14 years old, And right now he is exploring all the different schools, but I think the important thing for him is that he is getting that HBCU exposure. So he's had an opportunity to go see Morehouse. Of course I had to show him Spelman, even though he can't go there. I was like, you have to see where your mother went to school. And he also spent a summer at Hampton University. So we really want him to get that diverse perspective of all the different colleges that are out there, especially our HBCUs. So looking forward to where he's going to go. But like he tells me, Mom, it's too early, it's too early. I'm like, no, it's never too early. It's really about getting an understanding of everything that's out there and finding out where you see yourself and which company, which campus and school is going to bring out the best you.
Awesome. Well, he has a great role model in both you and Dad, who I know very well. He's going to do extremely well in whatever he decides, whatever direction he goes in. But, you know, Shonda, when you were at Spelman watching you, it seemed like you completely optimized everything. You were involved in everything. You know, the question I want to know is, like, if you could do something different, what would it be? If you had a chance to go back, I don't know what it could have been, because I feel like you were the Spelman one. If this is what the brochure of what a Spelman student is supposed to be like, you fit that profile, everything. Is there anything that you could have or would have done differently if you were to go back today?
Wow. Well, first, thank you for that, Ashley.
I'm going to do what she's doing, because if I follow her lead, I'm going to be okay. That's.
You know, I think, and this is going to sound funny, but as I look back on my career, to your point, I took advantage of everything. Career Management Center. I made sure every professor knew me, whatever honor society I could get into, leadership opportunities. And I think for me, looking back, I probably would have had a little bit more fun in terms of partying. I didn't party as much as I could have because I was just so overwhelmed with all of the different types of resources. And I'm like, I'm going to learn more about this and that. And I think looking back, I did my share of partying, but not as much as I probably could have. So I think I would have, if I had an opportunity to talk to my younger self, I would say everything's going to be okay. It's great to take life seriously, but balance is very important. And so that's something that I'm learning now that I probably would have told myself, or if I had an opportunity to look back, I would say balance. Have fun, work hard, but party hard as well. And enjoy that the 4 years at Spelman that you to the fullest of my ability.
Well, hey, LaShonda, don't beat yourself up too much, because that's the beauty of Spelman, that there is something for everyone. So if you like to party, there's a party. If you like to study, you're going to do a lot of studying. And guess what? You're going to have to do a little bit of partying and more studying than partying. And so that's another story for another day. But I'm just so impressed with everything that you've done, even as a young person. You know, for Ashley to say that she was looking up to you, and she's only a year or two younger than you, says a lot about you. And so if you had to choose a mentor, who would you choose, and why would you say that person was your mentor at the time? So at 16 or 17 when you were in college, and are you still in touch with that person? Because I know you probably have a lot of mentors now.
Mm-hmm. I have a lot of mentors, but if I had to pick a mentor at Spelman, when I was 16 years old, I would have to say that it would be Dr. Spence. She was dean at Spelman at that time, and she really saw something in me that I probably didn't see in myself, and constantly pushed and encouraged me. I remember one time I was in I believe it was my junior year, and I took one of her sociology classes. And I didn't need sociology to graduate. I had all of my core classes taken care of. I had added this double minor, and I was just interested in the topic. I think it was Intro to Criminology. And so midway in that class was a lot harder than I anticipated. And so I went to her and I said, you know what, I really want to drop this class. Can you sign my withdrawal form so that I can drop the class? I was like, I have tons of credit. I really want to focus on my business classes. There's just way too much work in this class. And what she said to me was, no, I am not signing that. And I'm like, well, what do you mean you're not signing it? I don't need this class to graduate. Within the drop ad period, can you please sign it? And she would not. And that was one of my most hardest classes at Spelman. And I was initially just disappointed that I couldn't drop the class, but she really pushed me to say, once you start something, it's important that you finish it. So it doesn't matter if you finish with a B or an A, but what matters is that you put your best foot forward and that you try and you do your best. So I'm not dropping this class, and I know what you're capable of, and I need to see your best in this class. And she actually put me, we had various group assignments, and she put me in this group, and I'm like, this is the most challenging group to work with. She was like, I have faith and confidence in you. You're going to be fine. So she was one of the people who I looked up to. She was there at my wedding. Her daughters were hostesses in my wedding. Her children actually babysat my son. One of her daughters watched my child when I needed a babysitter. I reached out to her and said, hey, can you watch Cole for a while? And so she really made an impact in my life at Spelman. And I so appreciate her for taking the interest and for pushing me to go a lot harder than what I had initially wanted to do. Because I was like, okay, you know what, now I can really party because I got all my classes in and I really don't need this class. It's fine. And she just said, no, you will start hard. You will finish like you started here at Spelman.
Yeah, Spelman it's a family, you know, that HBCU experience, it's like nothing else that you can get anywhere. And you know what, speaking of family, I know you come from a very strong family background. Talk to me about your family and kind of how they molded you into who you are, and even their, you know, support for you to go to Spelman. I think they would have supported you in doing whatever you wanted.
They would. I am extremely blessed. I have an amazing family. My mother and father worked very hard, and I think from them, that's where I learned my work ethic, to just work hard and to do my best. And I would say I come from a very big family. Although I am an only child, I have maybe 40, 50, 60 cousins. I have tons of cousins. And they always looked after me and took care of me and supported and encouraged me. If you would talk to some of them, they would say I was a little bit of a brat back then, but they all did whatever they could to make sure that I was successful, and I would appreciate that. And I appreciate that. I also had, in addition to my biological family, I also had my church family. They were very instrumental in helping to shape and mold me into the woman I am today. But I am truly grateful for my family. And Ashley, just like you said, what if I said I wanted to jump out of a plane, they wouldn't understand why, but they would support me 100% unconditionally. And from them, I have truly learned what it means to love someone unconditionally in this world.
Oh, I love that, LaShonda. That's so sweet and nice of you to say. And I'm sure your family members are watching this interview and they are so proud of you. And it says a lot to have a good family, but then I see why they pushed and encouraged you to go to Spelman, because it's an extension of your family. So it's a home away from home. And I'm so honored that you are my Spelman sister. And I know that everyone watching wants to follow you. They want to keep in touch with you. And so tell us more about where we can find you on social media and support some of the community initiatives that you talked about that sound incredible.
Absolutely. So you can definitely find me on LinkedIn, as well as Facebook. So if you want to send me a message through LinkedIn or Facebook, I will definitely respond. If you want more information about the Nicholas House, if you Google Nicholas House, you can definitely find out more information, or you can reach directly out to me. I'm happy to share with you and others any information that I can about the Nicholas House, whether it's ways to volunteer or to just share your skill set with people who really need it.
And LaShonda, thanks again for your time, your energy, your passion, and all the motivation that you've given all of us. We appreciate you, and we thank you for the opportunity to highlight you today.
Well, thank you to both of my Spelman sisters. I am extremely honored that you selected me to interview, and I wish both of you the best. But you're my Spelman sisters, and I know that you are already doing it. And if there's anything that I can do to continue to support the work that you guys are doing, please let me know.